they will be moved out. And so they can't become an owner then. They can only become a member. That is why it is so important that our free members upgrade immediately, because they may not be able to be an owner in 2 weeks or in 10 days if things go my way. And the way I'm trying to work with our key leaders, they won't have 30 days to upgrade. That's only if we don't have 10,000. Thank you very much, Carl.
Great, great. Thank you, Mr. Bingham. I saw Hadley Starkey, your hand was up. And Jalen, I see that you've been there for a moment, and I see you, Francine. I'd like to allow our president, Hadley, to speak if you still have a question or a statement.
Well, I have a question, and it's pretty much been talked about a little bit, but not on this call in particular. I'm wondering if there's a plan in place down the road that we might be able to streamline the sales process in such a way that our salespeople out in the field are going to be able to put together their own deals, knowing what par is and knowing what the installation charges are and things like that. And then secondly, also, which I addressed with Ms. King the other day, is that, and maybe it's a mistake, but on the NDA itself, it says we're a Tel Aviv company. And wonder if that was a mistake or if that's something that's been taken out going forward.
You all will get the new NDA coming up. It has been taken care of.
Outstanding.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Hadley. All right. So,
Sorry.
Jalen, those are great questions. That's a great question. Thank you. Jalen.
Yes. Thank you. This is excellent. And thank you for allowing us to ask some questions. I really appreciate that presentation because it does help to streamline that. My question is, because we've got quite a few people that are connected to quite a few. Is it at all possible? Are you all open to having a format that would have like a voiceover so we can automate the presentation just a little bit so that, even people that aren't the best presenters can press play in a Zoom and still be able to kind of speed up the process there, since we're trying to get so many in place as soon as possible? I just want to know if you're open to that.
Well, as I mentioned before, you're an owner. You're in charge of your own team. How you choose to do that is up to you. Just as long as you are, using these 2 slide presentations as your source of information, however you choose to present it will be up to you. You're your own individual owner. And so use your team and train your team the way you see fit. But
So
make
it's
sure
okay
you use,
to add a voiceover to the presentation is my question.
if that's what you choose to do, but all they have to do is read the slide. They don't have to add or take away anything. Just read the slide.
Yeah, we just want to keep some high energy to keep
And if
people.
that's what your voiceover does, then if that's what you choose to do.
And
Okay,
I'd like to interject on that real quick. So, great question, Jalen. And but as Ms. Carla has said, we're all independent owners here, and we have choice in terms of how we present. However, they're providing obviously a blueprint where the presentation is concerned, and with it being as streamlined as it is, they've minimized it to make it simple, to make it easy for anybody to be able to present it, whether they read from the slides or it's automated with a voiceover, which is ideal, I believe, and I would love to see that happen. So that's one of those components that we'll be talking further about, and it is my intention and my interest, my goal, to be able to first talk with the corporate side of the house, and to identify some of the things that are still needed, and to be able to speak with them regarding it, and the needs or the concerns that some people are having in terms of how things are being presented or not. and where some of the problematic areas might be. But nonetheless, the idea is to identify those components and then to bridge a solution. And to do that, we're opening up dialogue and communications here so that we can start working together collectively for those who have the background and the wherewithal and the interests in helping to support providing those solutions so that we can use that as a template. And that would be ideal so that we don't have 10,000 owners out there with 10,000 versions, which that's all great and everything. But ideally, to keep things clean and streamlined and where we know that it's corporate related, and I'll put this out there, it's very important anytime anybody creates anything that has any corporate image, brand, logo on it. So we're speaking of Yereq here. With whatever's put out there, whatever's created, it should always be sent up the channels to get, or to us, to the department related, to get an authorization for putting it out there. Because if there's something that's going out that's been created by a third party or by any of us, we need to make sure that it is on par and that it is authorized materials. So all of that should be in the back office. What's not in the back office as of yet, it will be in the back office at a certain point. So I would be very careful with what is being created and put out there to make sure that it is 100% on par and that there is no information that's late information that's no longer, from the past, that someone may not have caught and they think that this is still good. And just to make sure that everything is completely on par. That's critical, because we gotta make sure that we're in compliance.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well said, RV. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Deb.
Okay, we have Francine. You've waited for a moment there. Francine, you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, hi. Hi. I appreciate being invited to the call. I just have a couple of things. As far as the presentation, there's one slide that says choose how you get paid. And we really don't have a choice. We're getting paid through UPMA. So I think that should just be more forward speaking or forward said that this is how we're getting paid through UPMA. You can do whatever you wish once you receive those funds. And then the other thing is, because Ms. Cynthia King had mentioned she's working with the teams, I had a question in reference to sending in the information. I've been on the calls, and Ms. Rustin had mentioned how to send in information with those different links. And as far as the commission link, I did send mine that way as well with the order numbers as requested. I don't believe that not having the order number is going to hinder receiving the commission, but I just wanted to mention it because I don't have everyone's order number. Some people, everybody has different schedules and in different parts of the world. So I don't believe I'm going to be able to get them all. So I just wanted to kind of make that statement. I don't think it'd be a problem, but I just wanted to mention that because, I sent it in, but we're not really, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say you're right. We don't really need the order numbers. That's just like sometimes we'll put a name in and it doesn't come up right away. So the order number, if you put that in, so that just gives us more options to search for a person to get them paid. But the order number is not really necessary. If we get to a point where we're not pulling it up through your email, through your first and last name, then we'll come back to you and say, you know what, we need that order number. But to move forward to get the commissions done, we've been able to just put the names in, first and last name, email, and it brings everything up.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Well, I think that choice that they were saying on how you get paid is whether you want to get paid weekly or you want to get paid monthly. And it depends on how much you work. If you making your efforts, like the example that was given on the Energy Saver, if you sell 10 a week, depending on where in that week, most of them were sold. If you get it all in by Thursday, then you definitely will get paid on on Friday. But if past that Thursday date, then you'll get paid the following week. So The choice is, how you work your business. That's where the choice was meant to be. But if you think about it also, if you've been watching the news, you've been seeing a lot of banks crashing, right? So actually the UPMA being backed by gold is the best way to get paid for you to guarantee to keep your money. That's just the way I see it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm going to say something real quick, and then Luke, your hand's been up for a moment, and I see you, Hadley, as well. So as far as that UPMA account is concerned, guys, make sure that your people know that if they're looking for commissions that they haven't received, ask the question, have you set your UPMA up? And if you've not set your UPMA up, have you set up your Yereq wallet? And if you haven't set that up, if they hadn't set it up, then let them know that's probably 9 times out of 10 why they might still be waiting for a commission that's due. Possibly. That could be one of the many different reasons, aside from they're backlogged and still working on getting people taken care of. Okay? But in connection with the UPMA, you want to make sure that, and this is just a suggestion, and people don't have to do it, but this is a suggestion. I've talked with a couple of representatives just to get a better feel for what UPMA was all about, aside from my site review, pointing and clicking on everything live on the website. But any questions that I had, it was great to be able to call someone and to ask a question and have that representative take the time to explain and to walk me through the process. And obviously will be that way at some point here once the 24/7 support's in place. And if you needed to reach out to UPMA. But I will say it's critical, it's borderline, it is critical that we as a company, especially having a network component to it, where we have such a large number of members and owners, it's very important that we do not bombard UPMA customer service. Otherwise, we could end up with some issues. The company could end up with some issues in terms of their overloads and they're not able to do the things that they normally do. Not having these types of organizations in terms of the number of people that are using it for their funds to be maintained in precious metals. But the fact that this is our commission money, so we want to have access to it like we would our bank account, right? To move monies in and out at our leisure. Well, this is, again, a precious metals company. It's not a bank. It is not intended to use it to move money in and out every day. You got commissions, you want to move it out, or every week you want to contact them, and you don't want to tell them that you need them to send money to your bank every week, nor even every month, because that defeats the purpose of a precious metals company. Okay, so I'm just putting that out there. But the best thing to do would be to get a Visa card, the TrueLink Visa. You order that. For those who are not aware yet, you order that through the UPMA website. Click on support in your back office, and all you have to do is put a note in there stating what you're requesting, the TrueLink Visa card. They place the order, but you have to have a minimum of $50 in reserves in your commission sitting in your account before they will place that order. And as soon as they do, it will take on average 2 to 3 weeks for you to receive it. You may receive it sooner. Once you receive it, you don't have the money on your card, so don't think that you do. You have to contact them, and then you have to instruct them to move, or what they call liquidate, the exact amount that you're wanting to be moved to your card. Now that you have available, and you swipe your card at your leisure, whatever that amount is. But obviously, at that point, whatever you move out that's been liquidated and placed on your card, it's obviously no longer drawing any of that additional interest that your bank's not giving you right now today. They're paying anywhere from 7 to 14%, from my understanding, annually. And it could be, as John has stated, up to as much as 17%. But that depends on the market. They don't control that, okay? But that just lets you know, even if they're paying 3%, that's 2+% more than what your bank's paying you. A lot of people have asked, well, why does it have to go there? Why can't they just send it to my bank? I don't understand. I want my money in my bank. We're no longer in that system. That was the first phase. The company is transitioned because it does have a blockchain component to it, moving into that crypto space. And therefore, it was never the intention, and this is important for people to understand, it was never the intention for them to continue sending money to your bank through your PayPal or through your Cash App or your Zelle account. That was temporary, just to start things out and to start getting people their commissions as they were working on getting these other components in place. Now that certain things are in place, they phased out of that, and the goal and the purpose and the intent is to protect your money and to grow your money. And what better way to do it than to put it into a precious metals account? And then the rest is up to you. Luke, your hand is up.
Yes, it is. Good evening, folks. I I actually clicked on this link because it was a link that I was given yesterday, and I caught part of the presentation. Everybody can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't just talking to nobody. So I've been working with my direct sponsors, kind of lost faith, if you will. But I've been working with Lachelle Bynum kind of directly, and Miss King as well. So regarding the presentation and unfortunately I was in New York City all day long. I just happened to pop into this webinar. I didn't even know it was on. So as far as the presentation and the slides, and perhaps Brian can give me the information where to get all this information. So I know there was some discussions about the slides and what, to make sure that we have current information. That's very important because, obviously, as was, I don't want to regurgitate everything, but what's been stated is we want to make sure that what's being put out there, if we do our own webinars or, our own Zooms, that we're saying the right things. And that's critical. Right now, I actually put a new owner in last week, and what I did was I went through the old website to get him enrolled as a free member, and then moved him right over to the new website for him to get paid. Right now, currently today, that's the way we need to get people in, right? Because the links in the new back office to enroll members is not working. Is that correct, or has that changed?
No, as far as I'm concerned, the latest communication is we should all be using the new site for purchases and for back office information.
But you can't enroll a new person in those. If you go to copy the link that you have in the back office, you have a 404 reader. It says that the site doesn't exist.
You say, look, you tried, you put your new person in last week?
Yeah, last week. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is a new week. We got a working system. So going forward, try the new system, okay?
So when I've copied it, as of yesterday, when I copied and tried to paste the links that are in the new back office, the referral links, when I go to paste that into a browser, and it didn't matter which browser I had, it didn't come up with a way to enroll even a free member. So
I'll check that out because we had another owner put 2 new people into the new system today, and it went right through.
okay.
So I don't know where the glitch is at on your side, but
Okay.
I would say just try it again, and if you have a problem, just email us, and we'll look into it.
Okay. And then if the slides are available and I can get them either from you, Miss King, or Brian or someone to get the information out, that would be very helpful.
Yes, Luke, we'll make sure that you get that, everyone on this Zoom. So Brian, being that you're directly connected with Brian, thanks for dropping in unexpectedly and finding out that there was a meeting. Glad to have you here. And but I'm interested to know a little bit more about what's happening with your situation. So if you'll get with Brian following this meeting, between Brian and myself, we can make sure that what's happening is not something that's being overlooked. Brian is great with going through that back office, and he can explain quite a bit to you regarding it, and to make sure that whatever needs to be happening is happening. I have a feeling there's something there that's been overlooked, and I'm interested to make sure that. Well, I'd like to find out what that is. I know that I or Brian should be able to help you with that.
Okay, fabulous. One last thing. we were discussing UPMA. So then, and I understand the new directive with that. And I'm not quite caught up on all my back commissions, and I'm not going to get into that. What I would like to know is, will there be, so say for example you have $200 in goldbacks, you decide to put those onto a Visa card. How do I know what my balance is on that Visa card? Do you see that in UPMA? Is there a way to look at that?
Yes, actually there is.
Okay.
And what goes into your UPMA,
I'll take
that's
that
what
answer.
you might have a better answer. Uh, I'm going to let you go ahead and answer that. Miss Carla?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say that, yes, you are able to see whatever it is that transfers into UPMA by Yereq. And some people have gotten confused about what they're looking at in the UPMA back office or your dashboard there. And they're looking at what shows, like, let's just say there was a $40, $35 commission, right? And well, let's just say that was what was moved. And you're looking in your UPMA back office and you see 9 point something, not understanding how the conversions work, right? And you're thinking, okay, I got a $9 and something, right, commission here today. Well, that's units. Let's say if you've selected goldbacks, then that's 9 units of goldbacks that you're looking at. So you want to be real careful about what you see there. Now, how do you know when you look at your TrueLink Visa card? How do you do that? You got to go to TrueLink and set up an account there so you can log in to TrueLink just the same. Because when you get that card, then you're setting up your account there in terms of being able to track what you have in there or what you've moved in there and how much you're spending and how much you have remaining, that sort of thing. So they're 2 separate entities.
Got it.
So we have 3 entities here.
Right.
So you have 3 places to go to. Yereq dashboard for dealing with Yereq business. And then you've got UPMA for dealing with your precious metals. And then you have to put in a request for it to be liquidated. And they let you choose which metal you want to liquidate. And then that goes into your card account. They move that. If you tell them you need that moved to your TrueLink Visa card. And at that point, you're telling them how much you want moved because you see what you have in UPMA. And they'll tell you what that conversion rate is. If you don't know what it is, if you're confused and you're not sure how to figure that out, just let them know, and then they'll tell you, and they'll show you how to figure that out.
It's really clear. It says USD, so it shows US dollars versus goldbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you go to TrueLink, and then it's all trackable there. Okay.
Got it. Hey, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Hadley, your hand is up.
Yes, ma'am, it is. And I'm coming back to you because when I was previously recognized, RV, I had a 2-part question. The second part was answered in the NDA issue, but the other one was, are we looking forward, thinking and trying to streamline our sales process so that, Cynthia and Teresa are working their butts off, and, Cynthia's working late hours with more right now to get all of our commissions out. And we truly appreciate that. But we've got salespeople that are, potentially putting together other smaller deals around the country, 11, 12 hotels as an example. And these things aren't the priority to us as a company as they are to the individuals. Are we going to streamline our sales process so that our salespeople in the field will have a price sheet and an installation sheet, and they can do their own deals out in the field with forms that can be filled out and the sales contract completed so that we can streamline these sales processes and get our sales numbers up?
To answer your question, Hadley, everything has to be done for legality wise. We have to have the same contracts, forms going across the board. So you will be able to go out there, as was mentioned earlier, and do your business because you are independent owners. But as far as paperwork is concerned, it has to be approved by Yereq.
Yes, understood.
Came to me in reference to the NDA. We jumped right on that. So we will have a revised NDA that needs to go out, but you can't just go out there creating different forms or whatever, and it's not backed by the company.
No, but I'm
And
saying if we had a company form that was a sales contract, like I've had for advertising contracts with people, those get filled out in their entirety.
well,
Uh, Go ahead.
here's where you want to think differently. We are not selling a specific product in that EV chargers are something that everybody's going to be using. You still have to have a site visit because that particular site has to have a certain kind of EV charger. And that's why that site visit is critical. You can't give a price when you don't know what unit will support what that corporation needs. That's why a price sheet cannot go out for that particular installation.
I
But
got it.
as far as those four packages are concerned, those four packages is what we should be considering on a day-to-day basis. That's what we should be selling. Now, if it's a commercial, event like that, those site visits have to go into play because that's what's going to tell the owner of the company what can go there. We don't have access to that information. So we can't have a price sheet and this is how many EV chargers you're going to need. That has to be done through the site visit.
I agree.
So it's just
I
like
can't.
if you go install a pool, you don't know if the pool can be supported um, by the space that's available, the depth of what's under the ground. So there's a lot involved. So we just have to stick with the program for the site visit, the NDA, and then let them go and do their job.
Got
Okay.
it.
That was perfect explanation, Carla. Great questions, Hadley. I would like to say the best way to look at this from an analogy standpoint is if you're getting solar put on your property, on your house, no one could go out and, especially when you're talking about big ticket items, it's not feasible. We have to think about feasibility studies being done, and that's basically what the site visit allows to take place. To see what's feasible based on the current infrastructure, based on the utility system that's already in that location. Because in some cases, there are business owners that are going to have an engineer, to go out, and they're going to have to look at other factors that are involved to see if, first of all, if the ground lay based on where the structure, the property is going to support, what they're looking for. But the type of units, none of us as sales reps until there's a certification process, a training and certification process to go through and to understand all of those products and such, and you're going to become the subject matter expert, so to speak. That's not feasible for any of us to go out and to talk that language to let a business owner know what our thoughts are in terms of what they might need. Our job is to bring in referrals, is to do that initial brief presentation to let them know, what some of the options are, but that we can't give that final answer. It's our job to get an interest, and when we get that interest, gather the basic details, which that site visit document, which is electronic, so it can be submitted, and Ms. King, Cynthia King, would receive that. And then they're able to at that point, the next step is that's when they start getting in place, setting up a meeting where that business owner is able to ask questions, but they're able to get the answers from my understanding from the manufacturer and or the installer or what have you. And Cynthia, please correct me if I'm wrong on this process. But after that, when that call takes place, and that's when they are preparing for finalizing what's truly needed. Once everything's been determined as to what that location actually needs. So there are a number of things that's looked at that we don't have those answers for. We just need to draw up the interests and get them in front of Teresa Perkins and Cynthia King so that they can do their part and make the connections with the manufacturer, the installers and such, and then get everything solidified and the questions answered by the business owners.
That is correct, RV. And to take it a step further, again, we're trying to move you all into your owners. And so eventually you'll be able to handle meeting with your client. If you need to get them on the Zoom with the technicians or whatever, you can. You can assist in getting the site visits via email to the technicians so that you can get all of that set up. The only time when it really needs to come back to me is if your client needs money, because I will bring the money to the table to get them financed or whatever. So just work through the system and get everything. You can reach out the only thing that I ask is that we're not constantly calling the technicians. Email works better for them. So just email them, copy me on it, and then that way I can follow up on your behalf to make sure that they're setting up those appointments to get those deals done and getting your deal assessed so that we can get to the price. Because once they do that assessment, they're going to create an invoice for the client, and then they'll give that invoice back to you. You take it to your client, and then that's when they make the decisions on how they go maneuver through the sale.
Okay, great. I like the feedback.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you, Cynthia. All right, so Ghani, your hand is up.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we hear you well.
Okay, first of all, I want to say I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to see all of this happening because I think Yereq is going to be historic, and I'm glad to be part of it. But my question is, and some of it has been answered a little bit, but as far as I'm talking to some cities, so I was trying to find out, is there any particular structure for introducing the company to governmental bodies, anything like that?
Mr. Ghani, that would be the same process. If you're meeting with a city or state, because right now we're meeting with a lot of cities and states. And so on a state level, they have their own procedures on how they need to do things. And so they kind of set us up and tell us the way they need to maneuver through their state. And so the best thing that you can do is get a good contact person, preferably a decision maker on the city side or state side. And then again, we're gonna maneuver our technicians in there to do the presentations and then go from there. Just to give you an example, on one of the deals that we're working on currently, is with Popeyes. And so we had our technicians for that presentation go in and actually put all of the logos and everything on those units so that it reflects that it was truly a Popeyes brand. And it blew them away. They were very impressed. And so it's things like that that we can do if we have the time. You give us the time to set all of that up through our technicians, we can get that done. So the presentations, we can bring any type of presentation that's needed to the table. We just need to know what setup is there. But don't waste your time talking through the air in a sense. And what I mean by that, try to get to the decision makers because you'll save a lot of time.
Okay, and then Mr. King, after that, do we, what do I do? Email you to try to get on your calendar so you can talk with them?
Yes, you can email me and I can get them set up with the technicians to do that presentation. We want to keep Alltel in the forefront because Alltel is our manufacturer. And we're telling people that Alltel is our manufacturer, but what really helps us to win the deal is that Alltel is in state. So when you tell a government or a city that you're working, your company reflects where they can get to that merchandise. They're not waiting on other countries to provide that merchandise. It's a lot of time consuming. We're direct to our manufacturer. Our manufacturers is working 100% for us. And so they have driven their company to be in state, which helps us a lot.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much. Sounds good.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that question, Ghani, and thanks, Cynthia.
I will also say, let me just interject one quick second, that there is a mindset that we need to have, that there's a residential side and a commercial side. The commercial side is basically introduce them to who Yereq is, find out who the contact person is, fill out that appointment with Ms. King as well as the site visit people, and then they'll take it from there. But on the residential side, those scripts are put in place in that first presentation. There's scripts. Those 4 packages is what you want to keep in your head about what we're going to sell, because those packages make it easier for us to, sell a package as well as sell one item. So that's the goal of the company, is to keep in mind that we're selling this as a package. And then the energy saver, the plug-in energy saver can be added to any one of those packages or just sold by itself.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Miss Carla. All right, and guys, real quick, we're right at the top of the hour, so we're gonna start cutting this short. I've got a couple of hands remaining here, Francis, and then Brian. And Brian, thank you for opening up the meeting room here for us all to meet on an unlimited meeting Zoom. So, Francis, go ahead. You are up.
Okay, thank you, RV. I was a little bit late to the meeting. However, there are just two immediate questions that I have. Uh, and I'm going back to the back office conversation and the commission conversation. First question is, regardless of what's been said, and I've tried it every which way, I have owners that were not able to log in to the new back office, number one. And I don't have any way to work around that. The second question I have around that, well, that's the first. The second regards commissions. Can you give me an idea? It's been well over 2.5 weeks plus since I sent out those requested emails. How far behind are you, and when might we anticipate receiving the commissions that are due? I see nothing in my
Mr.
UPA.
Raphael, you wasn't on the call earlier.
I wasn't,
Commission
that's what I
que-
said.
yes, commission questions are not being answered tonight. All we're
Okay,
saying is that they are being worked on,
okay,
and I can assure you that you're in the pool. I've seen your name come
okay,
across, and it is being worked on. So
okay,
again, we're not here to answer commission questions on when am
okay.
I going to get paid. Please
Thank you,
respect that.
because no, I could respect it. Thank you so much. As I said, unfortunately, I was late. Here's the last question that I'd like to pose. Let's suffice it to say, I too am very familiar with the workings of UPMA. And please clarify the statement that was made several moments ago that was attributed to John that states 7 to 14% annually, up to 17%. Please clarify that statement and when it was made, because that is not my understanding. So that is a very pointed question, if someone could respond to that.
I would suggest that upma.org. It has a wealth of information. There's
Ma'am,
also a number there where you can call. RV did a very good job in covering the UPMA process. But if you want other questions answered, by
well,
all means, give them a call. They will answer your questions.
I am very familiar with them. I'm asking a very pointed question. When was that statement made, and from whence it come? On what basis? 7 to 14% annually. If you don't have an answer to that, please say so, and I'll be okay with it. But that stuck out to me. As I said, I'm very intimate with my knowledge of UPMA. All right. I've never heard that. I've never read that. I'd like to know from whence that comment comes and when it was put out into the public, so to speak. That's all. It's the only question I have.
We'll get with you at another date with that answer, Mr. Raphael.
All
Are
right.
we at the top of the hour, RV, to end this meeting?
Seems like we may have lost RV.
Okay.
But yes, I'm Brian. I just wanted to ask this last question, and then we can end this call. And I really appreciate you guys coming on and putting on this presentation for us. It was very well needed, and answering the questions that you did answer. That was information that we really needed to have to go forward to at least give out and be able to help others that's going through the process as well. So my hats off to you for that. But my question is, in reference to individuals purchasing the electric chargers, in particular uh, 49.95 chargers, the ones that they purchase from the site itself. When they purchase those, is there any other thing that they need to do in reference to that, as far as any type of documents that they have to sign, or do they receive any emails in reference to that, and whatever they have to do in order to receive their revenue once those charges are set up? And do they have any control over the revenue that's coming through those chargers? Because there's been quite a few people that I've talked to that have ordered those chargers, but they have not received anything. They paid the money, but they haven't received any information on what to do next. And they're asking me, and I have no idea
Are
as to
you
what to
speaking
tell them.
reference the charges that were bought in for Vegas?
Yes, those in Vegas and those just for the 49.95 period.
Okay, so the ones for Vegas, we canceled. We didn't cancel it, but because they didn't come within that 90-day period, the Rustins are refunding those charges for to everyone.
Oh, so
So
those got refunded as well? Okay, I didn't know
they,
that.
they
Okay.
are getting. They're in the process to get refunded.
Okay.
Now, if
Okay.
you're buying off the website in general, you first have to, answer your own question. Where are you putting the charger? Or whoever's buying it, they're responsible for their own installation wherever they're buying that from. So those are just items that promo items on the website that you can purchase and use however you see fit to use it. But the
Okay.
promos that we did, the Vegas promos, those were different. We actually had the properties prepared for those charges to go into.
Okay, so so for clarification, the 49.95 charges, those charges are just for direct sale, and whoever buys that, they have to place those. Those are not dealing with the joint venture process like what you were doing in Vegas.
No,
So
they are not. No, that's not a
okay,
host. That's not a host unit. That's a different. That's a different sale.
okay, that's good to know because we did not know that either. Okay, all right, good.
Because those are for residential or commercial. So let's just suppose an HOA building has, a site to put that. It'll be their responsibility to, make sure that whatever they use for energy, that's all of that is dug up and ready for the EV charger to go in. They're just buying the unit from us, and the install is free only after they've done their due diligence for the site visit and the connection.
Okay, so when they purchased that 49.95, we still turn in the non-disclosure and the site visit uh, uh, to direct sales, and then they also set up with Electrify to go over all the information that the customer may need with Electrify to get that installed as well.
Correct.
All right, fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much on RV's behalf. I really appreciate all of you coming, and I appreciate those that came from the corporate staff to answer the questions. Thank you, Carla, for that presentation that you gave. That was very helpful, and I think that it looks like things are trying to move forward as always. And I just want to, reiterate that it's good to get this type of information so we can relate to others that's out in the field that normally don't get the information. And we want to make sure that we provide the right information to everyone. So this was very, very important having this. And I hope that we can move forward and continue to get updated on the information as much as possible so we can relay it to the field as much as we can and keep everybody on the same page and moving forward and keep the process, very streamlined and seamless as we go forward. So again, I appreciate everybody coming. Hopefully, we'll get the word out to you for the next presentation and informational call. Just know that on Thursdays, I do a team call on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will, keep you informed and keep everything moving forward as well. There's other presentations going on during the week. I know, again, Hadley Starkey is doing presentations on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I think Greg Sane does his on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. So be on the lookout for those. So again, everybody, thank you so much for
Brian, call
coming.
me. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for coming, and we look forward to getting with you again for the next week. Thank you, Miss King. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Take care.